The game of life are people are going to hit you, they're going to claw you, they're going to scratch you, they're going to bite you. It's just the part of life. And instead of taking everything personally, you have to see that it's like a gladiator battle and that some people are bad, some people are good, some people are not, are in between. But stop taking everything personally and try to learn from it. So if you make a mistake, what you want to do, if you have failure in life, something didn't go right, you want to have the ability to look inward and say, what did I do wrong? And a lot of people don't have that inner strength. But if you want to be successful, if you want to get ahead in this world, if you're tired of not having any kind of movement or advancing in your career, you have to develop the skill. You have to be able to look at yourself as if you were somebody else, as if from the outside, and say, here's how I could improve. Here's what I did wrong the last time I did it. And you and I are sitting here together in this office with all this stuff around us. It's you and it's me. The odds against it are so unbelievably astronomical that you can't even compute. So what does that make you think about what's happening to you right now? If you really contemplate it, it will alter how you think about everything. Everything you see around you, the plants, the animals, they didn't have to be that way. It's extremely unlikely. It's a weird world that we live in, right? So that is an example of a sublime thought. It's a little bit scary because it has to do with annihilation, Holocaust, deaths, but it's also an awesome thought about the fact that you're just alive.
You are responsible for the things that happen in your life. You're the agent of what is good and what is bad. And when something bad happens to you, your natural tendency will be to look out in the world and blame this person, blame your mother, your father, your wife, your boss. But in fact, there's always a kernel of yourself that is to blame for what happened.
We all want power in this world. I maintain that's sort of my key thesis that drives all of my books. And it's not power just in a political sense. It's the idea that you have some control over your fate, control over destiny, right? And control and the ability to influence the people around you. Well, seduction is the ultimate form of that kind of power.
Really?
That's what I talk about that in the 48 Laws. It's a form of soft power. So people, if you seduce them, they're not even aware that you have gained this kind of power over them. They've opened up to your influence. There's a lot of bullshit in the world about do what your passion and all that. And I don't believe in people just dropping their careers and becoming a rock musician or writing poetry. You have to make a living, you have to be practical, but let's go through a process and find out where you went wrong, what you were meant to do, and how, instead of like veering suddenly to becoming a rock star while you're in law, how we can kind of carve a path this direction towards music, towards maybe something that is more what you connect to. How do we now carve a path there? So there's a story in one of the Russian revolutions, like the 1820s, the Decembrist movement, where there was a rebellion against the Tsar and they failed, and all the men were captured and they were to be hanged, and this one guy was hanged, and the rope broke, and then he said, "Ha, this proves how incompetent the Tsar is. You can't even make rope that works." And then the Tsar heard this was reported back to him. He says, "Well, if he thinks that I can't make ropes that won't work, I'm going to hang him a second time and see if it does work." And then he got hung again because he spoke too soon, right? If he just controlled his mouth, he probably would have been pardoned, because when the rope breaks, it's usually seen as an act of God. You usually are pardoned, but no, he spoke, and then that cost him his life. We are in deep, deep denial of the fact that we are mortal creatures. And I believe that with that denial comes a great deal of latent anxiety in your life. It makes you anxious and fearful for a lot of little smaller things in life, which is why somebody who's had a near-death experience gets rid of that anxiety and doesn't have that kind of avoidant mentality. So I want to open up, we tend to turn our back towards death, and I want you to turn around and face it square in the eye every single day. It's not a negative thing, it's an immensely beautiful thing. Everything in the world is a tool. It depends on how we use it. So power is a tool that can be used for something very good, or it can be used for something very evil. And so the same thing with technology. So when it first started, social media was like fantastic. I remember back in the early days, before the algorithms got too out of control, like on Amazon, you could search a book and then other people would have lists of books that were similar to that one, and then you could network with them, etc.
But that's gone now.
It's all gone. They got rid of all that stuff because it's all about the money aspect.
How much more they can sell you.
Yeah. But the idea of this incredible opportunity to communicate to people all around the world was really intoxicating, and it was wonderful, to be honest. But then it got out of hand because of human nature, because we don't know how to control things, because things tend to go too far. It's like, are we in control of technology, or is technology in control of us? We don't want to face ourselves. It's so much easier to look externally, to look out in the world, to find a guru or a coach who will help you, to find a book that will help you, to find a drug that will help you, to go on online porn, anything, as opposed to looking inward and seeing who you really